Everybody, this is Alex on the left, Tillman on the right. I'm Elliot, and welcome to Where's the Line? Today we're doing a more of a rapid fire question format. 5 minutes, time limit, switching topics. And yeah, that's pretty much how we're going to go. We're trying to keep things brief so we can make a couple clips.
And so my questions for you, I essentially wanted to know, when did the Constitution officially become for all people,
Right.
or for everyone? Um, that's basically, just want to know, when did that take place?
Right, and I understand why you're asking. 1787, I think, is when the Constitution was fully ratified, I think, by all states, but I could be wrong on that. Um, you know, the preamble to the Constitution states we the people, right? And I think in the origin of the document, it was intended to be for the people. Now, we both know that that meant white property owners, male property owners at the time. And looking at the frame of reference and context that they had historically, that's what they knew. Coming from European country, mostly England, over here, that was the concept. Now, very quickly, amendments were made and articles were added to the Constitution. So from its inception, I think it was designed to be for all people. Now, socially, culturally, morally, there were opportunities to make adjustments from slavery, and the abolishment of that, the rights, women's rights, civil rights, abortion, LGBT plus legal rights in terms of marriage and benefits. All of that was worked into the Constitution, and I think, it established also the three equal branches of government that govern how the Constitution grows: malleable, flexible. So, I mean, it is my belief, and I think that, the great American experience or experiment people talk about, from its inception, was designed to be flexible and grow with the needs of the people, to not be under one rigid form where you would have, like, some of your older civil, countries and different things would have. Portugal, Spain, England, the big countries that went out and colonized the rest of the world. So my answer to that is, from its beginning, it was intended to be we the people. And I guess the definition of people as it applied for the Constitution had to be enhanced over time, but the document was designed so that it could be. And I would argue now, more than ever, it applies even more. And there are still areas that it can grow in. That's the benefit of the document. That's what it offers.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. I guess my question would be then, is there any place or amendment that would be specifically speaking to that would specifically say, well, we're making this correction because in the beginning this was the problem? Like, we said, just essentially, we only acknowledge white male landowners as the people, and now we have made this adjustment. Is there an amendment that points directly to that?
Well, yeah. Now, if I'd have known we were going to have these questions, I would have polished up on which amendment did what exactly.
Well,
but it was the 16th Amendment that abolished slavery, right? So that took out the ownership of any slave. I don't think it was African American, I think any slave. So slavery at that point was no longer. And then there was the Three-Quarter Act that was enacted where at that time a black individual could count as three-fifths of the vote, right? And then women's ability to vote and work, and then military components. So there's no one specific amendment that says this now applies to all people. It becomes more and more inclusive as it's modified. So when, with abortion, Roe versus Wade, that came up, and there were, polarizing concerns, and, it was brought before the Supreme Court, where they, ruled on that a woman has the right to choose. And, that document also created the three equal but separate branches of government that allow this process to happen. So I'd say there's not one specific amendment, I think, that would answer your question. I think I get the tone of your question. Your perception might be that it doesn't apply to all people. But I do think that it does apply to all people in America. You have the right to speak freely. You have the right to practice your own religion. You have the right to vote. You have the right to do a lot of things. Now, I think some of the cultural restrictions might be what I don't know where you're going with that.
Well,
I mean,
the reason I asked the question is because I don't believe that in its inception it was meant for all people. But I do believe that today we at least believe that today.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if there was something official that took place where we put in there that's saying like, hey, this was a mistake. We're changing it because it was a mistake and acknowledging that mistake.
Yeah, I don't think
or
that,
if it's just something that over time, because these amendments were made, we all just came to an agreement essentially that it's for everybody today. And I
don't think there's specific language anywhere that I recall in any of the amendments saying we screwed this up.
Would you be for that?
I would have to think about that.